It's time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Pantelis podcast, episode 69. And for the 69th episode, I brought my buddy Brodigan on. Brodigan, I have so many questions for you that I should have asked you normally, but I figured, it's probably going to be entertaining, so it'll be so good for a podcast. That's why.
I'm just excited to be number 69.
Yeah, by the way, it's totally random. People think that I planned it, like who's going to get 69. I didn't even think about the number. I didn't even realize where I was. But what I was thinking, so Brodigan, for the people that don't know, I met you on Louder with Crowder writing.
Yeah.
You were already there before me. You've been a writer there for a while. And my question to you is, how did you get into it? Like, I know for me, I came from stand-up, right? They wanted someone for jokes. They wanted some comedy. So that's where I came in. But how did you get into writing?
Luck.
Was it luck? Yeah.
Yeah. What happened was, I started doing political blogging, I guess like around 2009. So I had met Steven a couple times. Like I used to do anytime I did a podcast for people, like he would always be a guest on. And when he was, the way the story goes, when he first started to work on what's turned into what the show is now,
Yeah.
he needed someone to write for his website. And he was looking for a conservative with a sense of humor, which you might not notice there aren't many of us. So I happened to stood out, and he has a buddy of mine, Brandon Morris. So I used to work on a website called Misfit Politics, and we used to do like a Google Hangout. I think it was before he even called him podcast, but that's irrelevant. But he referred me to Steven, so I started writing for the website. And then when there were various personnel changes, and he needed someone to start more people to start writing jokes, he's like, "Do you want to try writing jokes?" And I was like, "Sure."
Yeah, so it wasn't immediate, because I know when I first was asked to join the team and they got me for comedy, it was kind of, because I was like, hey, I'm not really that political. I don't really know much about what's going on. I just care about the joke. I don't give a shit about left, right? And
Yeah.
they're like, no, it's cool. Like everybody has a role, right? So even you kind of put me at ease when I got on. You're like, no, I know this stuff. Like you don't need to know all the political stuff. We'll show you who they are. You can write jokes about current events and what's happening, but you don't really need to be into the political sphere. Whereas I got lucky because you are, so you understand stuff. So, but it's true because it feels like you've been more involved in politics from before. Like it wasn't like you got into politics with Steven Crowder. You were involved in it from before, so it was just kind of like an added bonus for you to be able to spread your wings and do more stuff on that show.
Yeah, because I guess what originally happened, I had so a buddy and I had a falling out over the same stupid reason friends always fall out, because there was a girl involved.
Okay.
But one day out of the blue, I decided to Google him to see what he was up to. And he was doing like a political blog, and it was right leaning. So just completely out of the blue, I decided to send him an email. And the extent of because he moved from New York to Florida, and my thinking was, wow, I thought Jews only moved to Florida when they retire. My friend's of course Jewish. And it was funny because after not talking to him for like 5 or 6 years, I'm thinking to myself, wow, he'd probably find that funny. So the first email, our first communication in 6 years, the extent of was me sending an email saying, I thought Jews only moved to Florida when they retire. How have you been? So we started talking again, and he had discovered Blog Talk Radio.
Why does that sound? Wait, Blog Talk Radio? That was a website, right?
Yeah, it was a web. I think it was the first. I think it was the first podcasting website before it was even called podcasting.
I did a podcast there once, a live one with my buddy Alex when I used to do my first podcast. I remember Blog Talk Radio. We had done one, and it was amazing because the way it integrated, it was live and people were able to call in.
Yep.
Yeah. I've done an
great.
episode there, yeah. Years ago, 2010, 2011.
Actually, before 2008, so we'll say like 2007.
He started it.
Yeah, it was before the 2008 election. And he was the one who was more into talk radio, like listen to Rush and all that. He just wanted someone to talk to, so I was basically like the sidekick. And when I started doing that, I started following politics more. And I guess when the Tea Party stuff happened, actually, a little before that, I was looking for work, and I was reading a book, and they would talk about like when like our parents used to go to work. The reason they would network and find jobs, they'd go to like church or like those Knights of Columbus organizations like that, like the Grand Poobah Hall.
I don't really know a lot about that shit.
Yeah, but it's civic organizations.
Okay.
So I figured, well, wait a second, I still qualify as a young Republican because it's anyone under 40. I had joined that, and like I was so the podcasting was in my introduction to like social media and the internet, and then the YR is my introduction to like politics. And I guess like around 2008, 2009, I started getting involved in the quote unquote movement.
Oh, there's a movement.
Well, there was a movement. It's more of a bowel movement lately, but you know,
Yeah, and I just care about what's funny. I could give a fuck. I'm
I'm getting there myself.
yeah, because you'll see it's dumb. Most, I mean, I can't find a politician that I really give a fuck about enough to associate with and be like, this is my guy, this is my girl. They're fucking politicians. So I care about being funny. That's all I ever gave a shit about in this business. You know.
Yes, and
So
then thankfully, like the political business gives us a lot to be funny about, so that definitely helps.
yeah. Oh, there's a lot of fuckery afoot, Brodigan. Let me tell you. Not as if you haven't seen it, but you have an interesting passion for wrestling.
Yes,
And the reason why I say interesting is because most people their passions don't become careers in any capacity, right? And you're one of the people who had a chance. You love wrestling. You actually had a chance to work in that sphere, right?
back in
And
the day, man.
back in the
Back in the
day,
original dot com bubble.
and you were talking to me last time we were together down south. We were eating some barbecue, and you talked to me about it, and it was fascinating to me because you were on the internet blogging for wrestling at a time where I was very, very new to the internet. I wasn't aware of how blogs work, who was writing for them. So while I was still getting introduced to the world of the internet, right, you were already in there turning one of your hobbies into work at the time,
Yeah.
essentially. So how did that come about? Like, I'm very curious about and how did you get out of it? Because I know you still love wrestling.
Again, luck.
Okay, how did that happen? I'm very curious.
I had okay, so I guess when back in the olden days,
Yeah.
when you used to get those America Online discs with like the 30 free hours and the 200 free hours, I started following some of like the WWE's. I think it was still WWF back then, but they used to have the message boards on their AOW page. Yeah, AOW page. Um, and just little by little, I saw people like, oh, there's such a thing called email newsletters. Well, wait a second, I have to get an email first. I have an email now. I'm going to start writing for an email newsletter. And little by little, I was sending stuff to this one guy by the name of Al Isaacs, who I didn't know at the time was actually only lives 2 towns over from me. And and he had a website called Scoops, which in the genre of what we were doing was kind of like the People magazine.
Okay.
So it wasn't just like Bucky's Wrestling .tumblr.com like thing. It was actually it turned into like a really big deal. And I was just writing just as a hobby, and they got bought by one of the bigger .coms. And again, they needed an extra person, and I was the only one who lived in New York because I had to work out of New York City. It's like, you want a job?
You keep getting work by proximity.
I work at a Barnes and Noble at the time. I'm like, sure, I'll take a full-time job talking about professional wrestling.
Of course, yeah.
How much do you want? Whatever you want to give me.
And was there money at the time? Was it were you able to have a full-time job and actually put food on the table?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, for like a year. And then I discovered the stock market and the bubble.
And you got in as the bubble was bursting?
I actually lucked out. So our company, did you know IGN.com?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. IGN.com used to be owned by a company called Snowball,
Okay.
who owned a bunch of other websites, and they were the site that bought us. So Snowball went public in March of 2000. As luck would have it, I was in San Antonio, Texas, interviewing Shawn Michaels. So I didn't buy stock when it opened because I was supposed to get a discount. It was $18 a share. I think we were supposed to get some kind of a discount. And the stock started to go down right away. So I figured, all right, I'll wait out. And then between April and December of that year, the stock went from $18 a share to 18 cents a share.
Oh shit.
And it was actually a good life lesson because you should always know
Shawn Michaels is bad luck?
well that, but you should also always know how you're getting paid, because when I was going on job interviews, first of all, I'm competing with everyone who just lost a job in the .coms, but they were doing it longer than I was.
Oh right, yeah.
But it's before they would even talk about the interview. She's like, I don't understand. How does the internet? How did you get paid? Like, how did your company make money? And I'm thinking to myself, I had no fucking idea. I Well, like I was working in a giant office on Park Avenue, going to work in like camouflage shorts and like Leonard Skinner hockey jersey, working in a sales office with that was 75% salespeople. I had no idea what they sold.
Interesting.
And I think that pretty much described what the internet was. It was like a giant pyramid scheme. Everyone was like buying a concept as opposed to like an actual like product.
So did you feel like
And
you jumped in to the deep end and you're like, how the fuck do I get out of this? How do I get back to normal work?
uh, for a while, because I had a it was also a blown opportunity. So because it's one of those mistakes you look back on because for a year, my boss at the time worked remotely from upstate New York.
Okay.
And as long as you like did your chores or your chores, I mean the stuff like certain things you had to do, he didn't care how you filled up your day, just as long as you were working out of the office for 8 hours. Now I could have taught myself coding. I could have taught myself film editing because we had a media room and only me and one other person used it. I could have worked on building contacts. Instead, I spent the days surfing the internet, downloading music off of Napster, and going to the bar for lunch
You
because I figured
stupid son of a bitch.
uh, I'm making a living right about professional wrestling. This is going to last forever.
Yeah, yeah.
And it didn't quite work out like that. So like when the opportunity arose to do like pretty much what I was doing then, but like to do it now,
Hmm.
knowing what I know now and like all the new technology we have, because that was always the annoying thing. It got to be annoying when I would be watching like some of the uh, WrestleMania weekend stuff, and all these people doing the stuff that we wanted to do 15 years ago, but the technology wasn't there yet.
Okay.
And seeing them get to do it now pisses me off every year.
How come now you're not I mean you're busy with being the writer on Crowder show, but you still could find time to do wrestling related stuff, right? Because I say this because I try to push people to monetize and to do more of the stuff they like hobby wise, to turn it into
Right.
something. Just because life is short, and if you're passionate about something, you're good at it. Might as well try to spend a lot of time doing it.
You know what is I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that once at least for me, because for the longest time I was doing this stuff as basically as a hobby. Um, while I was working in an office, because I figured at one point maybe I was content working in office, but I figured maybe at one point it would turn into something else. You know, like occasionally some organizations would fly you like the conferences just so you could blog about it. So I was happy doing that. I figured I'd make a contact that way. But after doing that for so long, and now that we're able to get paid for our passion,
Yeah.
to think about doing it just for free, I don't have the time.
It'll
I can make the time if I wanted to, but it just doesn't seem.
but it could start off free
Yeah,
and then you turn it into something. What about I mean now with AEW being a new kind of a new promotion that's actually making money, I guess there's more room and there's more need for more websites, writers, videos. How come you don't have like I don't know a weekly Brodigan YouTube? And I say this, and I'm not the biggest wrestling fan, but I am aware that there's a lot of people involved in wrestling. There's a lot of content out there, a lot of fans, and even friends that I know have made wrestling YouTube pages and
yeah.
podcasts. So you always a wrestling shirt, always a wrestling reference. I'm very surprised that you're not doing. Yeah, you see, wrestling forever. So why aren't you doing more wrestling shit?
My crippling fear of an awkwardness of talking to myself to a camera. It's
I'll
just
give you
something I've
that,
never
dude.
been able to get
It's
over. And
weird.
the funny thing is, I actually okay. So we're in quarantine. Everyone is going to be shut down for like ever. I figured, hey, now would be a good time. I'm actually going to practice doing this. I'll do an Instagram TV video every day, and like one day I'll talk about my favorite albums. One day I'll talk about wrestling. I'll talk about all this stuff. I lasted a video and a half.
Okay, yeah, it's not. Maybe that's not for you. What about writing though? What about on a fucking? You join one of these web pages. They still exist, and you write
They st-
the news.
they still exist, but it's all
Man, German suplex through a supermarket.
film at 11.
Yeah.
Like yeah, it's and also the weirdest thing for me when I was doing it, it's a lot of children doing it.
Like actual kids?
I don't know if it's still children. Like there was one point where I was on the phone with a 13-year-old because he stole someone's news,
Wait,
and
what?
my
It's not a good excuse. I feel like you're trying to cover your bases. You're like, "Oh, the reason why I was on the phone with a
okay.
13-year-old,
So
we were talking about grappling."
when we used to have news boards.
Okay.
Now, this is before the word blogger was invented. This
These
is
are like
before the word
forums?
podcasting was invented. You know, we all thought of ourselves as serious journalists.
These are like forums, the news boards?
Forums,
Kinda?
yeah,
Okay.
forums. We all thought of ourselves as serious professional wrestling journalists. And the way a lot of people would make their money, because let's be honest, doing the least amount of crap makes you the most amount of money. They would with these message boards where they would take other people's news and just like, 3 short paragraphs, and they put like a misleading link to like go to like some other person's website, and that would be their job, which is actually turned into actual journalism if you look at what CNN and the New York Times has turned into. But there was just one day where, and you could tell who the kids were, you could tell, but I had to fire someone because he was lying about stuff, and he kept on posting misleading links, and I figured the guy
Like
my boss was like, well,
clickbaity shit?
yeah, baby shit. But the guy with my boss was like, well, he's complaining on email, so you should call him. I'm like, the kid's probably like 15 years old, and I'm like, but you still don't know. I'm sure he's an adult. You have to call him. And I'm fairly certain when I spoke to the kid on the phone, he wasn't 15. He sounded like he was more like 12.
But what
And had
kind
to
of
sneak on
stuff was
phone
the
so his
kid
grandparents
writing?
wouldn't see it. Like,
I'm not convinced the Undertaker is really dead. Like what kind of what kind of stuff was he
I'm
saying?
thinking to myself, like, I'm never calling one of these people again.
His mother picks up. Yeah, can I speak to Trevor? Trevor, your teacher's on the phone.
Think about this for a second. So I'm on the phone with a 12-year-old. Okay, a grown man is on the phone with a 12-year-old.
Right.
His father or grandfather picks up. How do I explain why we're talking on the phone?
We both just love wrestling, bro.
You see, your son works for me.
Oh, none of it sounds good.
No, not at all. But I always
your son left a comment on the message board claiming to be unpinnable. I want to tell you, I can pin that little shit.
Yeah, but it was more stuff like they would say like, we have exclusive news that Shawn Michaels just signed with WCW, but which was, of course, it was bullshit. But
okay, a lot of stuff like that.
When it's on our page, we have to. But yeah, that was the 12-year-old who did that, and after that happened, it kind of soured me on some of these people.
So it's
ever calling them again.
All of this is super interesting to me because it's a world I didn't know existed. I didn't even. It's crazy because I didn't even think you could make. Back in the day when I first really got into the internet, I would say 2005, 2006.
Okay.
And by then it was like I was late to the party. Like everyone else knew about these websites. I had no like E-Bombs World. I learned about it really late, so I had no idea that you can ever make a passion into a career using the internet. To me, all that shit was alien. Right? Even when I first started podcasting, I had no idea how to possibly monetize it. Ads, all that just seemed crazy to me. So to see someone like you who what's a journalist for which to me is still ridiculous, a journalist for wrestling, right? Like we're all pretending it's a sport. It's so, but it goes to show you that in North America, god damn it, we're amazing. We could do anything.
Less, yeah.
There's probably a blogger out there who he's making money blogging about fucking French fries and hot dogs. It's possible.
And he probably has a YouTube page where he does nothing with talking about French fries and hot dogs, and he's got an endorsement deal with McDonald's to make sure he only talks about their French fries. And
yeah,
he
shit
brings
like
in
that. Yeah,
$20,000 a month, and he's probably 12.
It's fucking incredible. So how do you see this? How do you see this coronavirus thing changing things up for everyone right now? And you're in New York right now. You see things differently than I do through a different lens. What do you see with your surroundings?
Well, considering that we just there was just a study in the New York Times that New York is responsible for all the coronavirus in America.
Makes sense.
I think we should all shut up.
Is that what the study said?
Oh God, yeah, it was. All right. Okay, look, I'm not sciencey because whenever you get in a fight with your little friend, like, well, did this come from a scientist? It came from researchers who did a study within the New York Times. But
How can they know that it's so stupid. Like that's a weird leap.
so apparently, because I guess the thing that they do now is like trace people to figure out where the disease came from. It's I gave it. It's. I mean, it sounds kind of creepy that they're gonna like trace American citizens and do anything.
Yeah.
But I think through like the tracing, they figured out that 91% of the coronavirus cases in the Northeast originated from New York City.
Okay.
83 of the coronavirus cases in the South originated from New York City.
83%
And
of
like
them.
83%. And even like in the Midwest and I think the Southeast, it was still like over 50, 60%. So while I have all my New York liberal friends complaining about the governor of Georgia and the governor of Florida and the governor of Texas opening up too soon, we should be complaining about the governor of New York and the mayor of New York City because they're the ones to blame.
The mayor is the guy with the nipple rings.
No, the governor is the guy with the nipple rings.
Okay.
The mayor is the guy who's a giant douche.
Yeah. Well, he's a goddamn mayor. You met a good mayor? I haven't.
What happened?
Have you met a good mayor? I have yet to meet a good mayor.
I'm kind of biased. I got one of them elected. He was a good mayor.
Oh yeah, you did political work, like actual.
I did political consulting for a little bit, but
what
with
the fuck is political consulting? Explain this to me. Let me consult you on your politics.
Yeah, more or less, because again, luck. I was working. The office I was working in at the time was, you could tell the company was going out of business.
Okay.
They weren't saying anything, but the writing was on the wall. So as a whim, I decided to like email a bunch of like political contacts and say, "Hey, here's my resume. What do you have?" And that day, a friend of mine who is the chairwoman of like the state Young Republicans was like, "I'm working for a U.S. Senate race. Do you want to do our social media? Because no one does social media." I'm like, "Hey, I can do that. I know how to do social media."
I've
And
tweeted in my
that
day.
became a job. It's basically, I lucked out because the Democrats were always really good at the internet. Most Republicans knew nothing about the internet. So if you knew something about the internet, you get your foot right in because they were desperate for anyone who knew what an internet was. So I started doing that. I just started running social media for like, various campaigns.
I feel like these jobs are made up. I feel like people are just making up jobs.
Oh, it is. It absolutely is. Every social media job title is something that guy made up for himself.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I used to call myself social media ninja. I think I actually had it on a business card.
When I used to work in video games, we had people who called themselves. We had a department that they were the ninjas. They called themselves, and even at the time, I remember I was young too, and I was like, "Fuck, that's retarded." Like you're still adults.
Yeah.
What do you do? I'm a developer. I'm an engineer. I'm a ninja. Like that guy's a retard.
Well, I mean, that's also the funny thing, because I mean, that was the kind of immaturity that I would deal with, when I was working at the wrestling site. And it carried over to, that's basically what working in politics is. The only difference is, well, in 2000, 2001, when it was all like, immature, like, high school and college students acting like that, you've got grown ass adults acting like that type of retardedry dealing with politics. I mean, it's all a work. That's what it is. The entire world is a work.
Yeah, it really is a work. Yeah, it takes you a while to figure it out, but and it's hard to kind of find your way, because a lot of people are really scared to take that leap. Because even me, right, just going full-time comedy, writing, podcasting, all that, it was scary, at first, to just think of doing something like that. But it's all made up. It's all untraditional. Everything we're doing right now is untraditional work, untraditional media. So why the fuck not?
And also, I think it probably drives you. I know it drives Steve, and it drives me. And also the feeling that every day when you wake up, you basically start the day unemployed.
Yeah.
And every day you feel like, it's only a matter of time before like this all falls apart. But you learn to make the most out of each day.
I think
just
that
to
every
get
day.
You to the next day.
Every day I come to the realization, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, this is fucking scary.
Yeah.
What if it all ends?
One of my favorite quotes, Don Henley, it was in the Eagles documentary. And he had said, success is just as disconcerting as failure, when you have questions about your own self-worth and abilities. Because it's one of those things that, like, why am I here when there's more talented people doing it? And it's only a matter of time before people realize that I suck and have no idea what I'm doing, and they're gonna go with these more talented people. And that, that's always in the back of your head. But
Yeah.
it's also, it drives you to make sure that, no one finds out what a fraud you are.
Yeah, you always feel for comedians. Well, I don't know about every comedian. I've met a lot of delusional ones too that are shit and they're like, "Yo, I fucking killed it." But I always have this problem where no matter what anyone tells me, like, "Oh, that was great," I always have the problem like, "Nah, it wasn't." I always have that issue with, I could have hit this note better. I could have done that better.
Yeah.
And it used to bug me at first, but now I realize it's just the way I am. And I think that that's one of the reasons why it always pushes me to do. I feel like if I thought I was a success, if I thought, oh, this went perfect, then maybe I would start dropping the tempo, you know? But since I always feel like I'm chasing something that I'm never getting, like there's that carrot that's always in front of me, I feel like that motivates me to keep doing more. I was like, no, I haven't reached where I want to reach yet. Keep going. Keep going. So I think that you need to have. I think delusion is good if the delusion puts you down. I think delusion is bad if the delusion puts you up. That's how I see it.
Yeah. I mean, look, and there's nothing wrong with, like, sometimes when you crushed it.
Yeah, but
Some
that you could have done more.
sometimes you just know. But anything I've ever done, like, anytime I've been on Crowder show, any any friends podcast I did, I'm probably going to feel this way when we're done today. I'll think to myself, shit, I should have said that. Or if I would have if I would have thought to say this other thing, that would have been hysterical. And
Yeah.
I wish I would have prepared this more. I've never not had that after I've done something.
Yeah, that's everyone, dude. I get the
Yeah.
same fucking way. I get chances to redo it, right? I do so many podcasts, and I still always feel like I don't feel like I gave enough. I don't think I did this. I think a lot of that doubt constantly creeps in. It's
Yeah.
unavoidable. It's unavoidable. I don't know, I guess you just
Like,
keep trying new shit.
yeah, and it's especially, like I said, especially when it's I mean, not so much singing. Yeah, I think it's still kind of singing for your supper. It's just, thank thankfully being better at it than most people.
Oh, yo, speaking of singing for your supper, I don't know if you're interested. You see the heat that Adele
Oh my God.
is facing because she's decided to look all cute.
It always cracks me up that you hear all these things about how like, well, it doesn't matter how you look, and what matters is what's inside, and what matters is your talent. And yet when you have someone, and this has happened to, I mean, look, this happened to Lena Dunham, that one time she lost weight.
Still
This
disgusting
happened
though.
this is this has happened to any entertainer, particularly if it's a woman who got fit or decided to lose weight. Even though they're still the same person they were on the inside, and even though they're just as talented as they was before, and even though I'm sure Adele sings just as good as she did when she was heavier, the knives come out because, oh well, you're making me feel bad. People shouldn't celebrate that she lost weight and got healthy. It's like,
Why not?
no, actually, they kind of should.
Yeah.
First of all, no one should have an opinion on it in the first place. I mean, let's just let's make sure that's out there.
Yeah.
Whether or not she decides to be fat or skinny, I mean,
It's up to her.
who cares in the first place? But yes, if someone who's not healthy, little heavy set, and I say this as someone who's a little heavy set and realizes that you need to get healthier.
Yeah.
If they actually get healthy and are happy about it, that should be celebrated. As opposed to, it's
Yeah,
like,
she
well,
posted it. She was
now she has
happy.
to feel bad about being skinny.
Yeah, which is fucking crazy because you saw the difference in weight, and I know as a big guy that it's not easy to lose that much
No.
weight. So she went through fucking hell, dieting, exercising to get to that shape, and then to post a picture being proud of it and have assholes be like, "What the fuck is this shit? She betrayed the fat community." Shut up. Shut up.
And look, not knowing where she is politically, she's in the entertainment industry. I'm going to assume she votes for different people than I do.
Oh, who gives a shit?
It's all people on her side.
Well, here's the thing. I feel like we've made this mistake as a society. We're assuming that let's say right now we're assuming that her fans, the ones that are her ex fans, the ones that are yelling about her losing weight and how she shouldn't have done
They're
it.
not actually her fans.
Yeah,
It's just people who want to bitch at the internet.
Or they're probably not even people who are really political savvy enough that they probably just vote for whatever the mainstream media tells them to vote for. Like they're the
Yeah.
same people that say that that's bad, but that Joe Biden fucking sexually assaulting people is cool because he's on the left. So
Yes, that's fine because he plays for our team,
yeah, one of those
and that
idiots.
doesn't make me feel bad.
That's why I can't associate with a political party or a person in politics, because I don't want to ever become one of those people where, oh, this person can do no wrong because I voted for them. Shit, man, even my sports teams that I love, if they do wrong, I could say, fuck, they did wrong.
They suck, yeah.
Yeah, I like being in that position. I do not want to be one of these fucking ideologues that just follow blindly. That's how you get fucking Nazis. That's how you get all that shit. They're just like, well, that's what the party said. You don't need that shit. Make your own fucking decisions.
I will say this about some Biden supporters. A couple of them are at least being intellectually honest, where they're saying, Tara
the old
Reid,
man has lost his mind.
I trust you. I'm sorry this happened to you, but I'm supporting Biden anyway because even though he raped you, he's not Donald Trump.
That's
so there
insane.
are actually some Biden supporters who are at least being honest about it.
That's an insane statement, though. I'm still supporting the rapist because he's not the guy that I was. Dude, when Trump was hosting The Apprentice, everyone took him as a joke, not a threat, right?
Yeah.
And then now, after 4 years of we see buffoonery, but we also see so much entertainment. So much of fuck you, your fake news.
That's where I've always been torn, because on one hand, as someone who cares about his country, for some reason, Donald Trump brings out the worst out of everyone, like his supporters and his opponents, and I think it's not healthy for the country. But on the other hand, I've got a living to worry about. Donald Trump is a gold mine.
Well, here's what I bring up. Because I'm in no position as a Canadian. I don't want to tell people who to vote for in another country. I feel like that's a bitch move. However, all right, think about it. I'm just thinking about it, trying to think about it logically. So we could tell now that Joe Biden, I would say, has dementia or early onset dementia. There's something off. He's not who he used to be. He doesn't speak the way he used to. There's something.
He's starting to lose control of his facilities.
Yeah. There's already, we could see the onset of this, right? It's coming in.
Yes.
So you have two choices. One is you already saw what happened in 4 years. It's not what the media told you was going to happen. It's just a lot of fuckery in the sense of, he yells at the media, which is fine. They needed that. They needed to hear that shit. And there's a lot of entertainment to it. The country's not on fire. He didn't fucking kill minorities. It's not what they were telling you was going to happen. But if Biden takes control, we know that he's kind of losing it. Who knows where that's going to go? Yeah. Who knows where that's going to go? What kind of decisions he's going to make that'll fuck everyone over? What kind of people he's going to molest? So do you want 4 years of we might all starve, or do you want 4 years of fuck you fake news? I'll take the fuck you fake news.
Well, I have the benefit of being a conservative in New York, so my vote doesn't count in the first place. Okay. So I could leave President Blank. I could write in, quarter black Garrett. I could do whatever I want. It's not going to matter because my vote's not going to count.
Vote for me, bro.
But yeah, I'll vote for Pantelis, even though he's Canadian. Just because I always said I wanted to run for president, like when I was old enough, just because I want to be watching CNN, and I want to see Republican candidate 58 million votes. Democrat candidate, 58 million votes. John Brodigan,
3.
7.
Yeah, 7. Yeah.
That's what I wanted to say. But you also have to ask the question. I mean, we know the comedy we're getting from Donald Trump, and we can plan out the next 4 years of comedy. A president that you have to worry about if he's going to remember to wear his pants to the State of the Union. I can see how there could be comedy there also.
I can't wait for the debates, dude. This is going to be historic.
I can't even picture what they look like.
This is going to be great.
Here's the thing. You are at least able to picture Trump versus Hillary. I mean, you could visually, all right, they're going to yell and the media is going to do this.
Those were fun debates. Do you remember those? Those were some
those were fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, as someone who cares about his country, I was very depressed. But, as someone who was just starting to make a career in comedy, this is a gold mine.
Yeah.
But I can't even. What usually happens, there are 3 debates. You have one behind a podium, you have one where they're sitting at a table, and you have one where it's more of a town hall with bar stools and stuff like that.
That's the problem. You got to add the next level, one that is in the ring.
Exactly.
That's the only problem with America right now. You need the in the ring debate.
If they're going to be a circus, we should go all the way.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, the only problem is like Dana White and Vince McMahon, where you would get the ring, where you would get the promoted. They're already Trump supporters, so it's not like the Democrats would never go for that. Now, if maybe I don't know where Tony Khan is politically. I mean, for all I know, he could be a Joe Biden supporter. So maybe they could work something out where you have like Vince McMahon promoting one of the debates and Tony Khan promoting one of the other debates.
That would be funny too.
They could have the Democrat debate at Daly's place and have the Republican debate at the Performance Center.
It's so it shouldn't even. You know what you should do? You should be able to. A real free country, I think you should be able to change your vote. Whereas, who stands closer to you politically and what the country needs. So we should be at a time where politicians kind of evolve. And then you went, Republican one election, but then the next election, somebody came up, on the left and like, oh, fuck, I like these policies, right? The policies will move my vote. But now it seems impossible. Like everyone is so they're digging their heels in the dirt.
It's the internet. The internet has completely destroyed everything.
You think Twitter ruined it?
So growing up, my first presidential vote was for a libertarian. 4 years later, it was a Republican. 4 years later, it was a Democrat. 4 years later, it was a Republican. And that second Republican was where I started to get involved with politics, where once you started to get into trenches, it gets to the point where we're like, fuck it, I'm just voting for my team just because screw these other guys.
Yeah.
And it just, like I tell you, like it's, again, it's only gotten worse, which is bad for like the planet, but it's great when you work in comedy.
Yo, speaking
I mean, that's the struggle. That's the struggle. I mean, are we going to survive versus, hey, I can do 10 minutes on this?
Yeah. So are we going to survive, or hey, am I going to survive? Did you know what went unnoticed? Nobody talked about it. Is when the CIA confirmed and they said, yep, those UFOs sightings were real. That footage that came out of the military.
How messed up is that?
How come no one's talking about that? How come that's not main news? But if fucking Trump farts, it's the front page.
The pandemic has screwed up the world so much, though, that hey, look, we have photos of UFOs, possible actual aliens, and everyone's just like, meh.
And those videos came out a long time ago, and they denied it. They're like, those are not real. And now they're like, while this happened, they're like, all right, we lied. Yeah, that shit's real. We don't know what the fuck those things are. Yeah. And no one's you'd think that you'd have Don Lemon ready to suck these fucking aliens off, but there's nothing happening. They're not talking about it. I don't understand.
Well, basically, long story short, because Donald Trump didn't tweet about it. If Donald Trump tweeted about it, it would be all any of us are talking about. But because Donald Trump didn't tweet about the alien photos,
Donald Trump, it would be funny if he misunderstands any tweets. He's like, these alien sons of bitches think they could fly over my wall.
I mean, but let's be honest. I mean, that's also how you know that the UFO photos weren't necessarily real, and there's no Area 21, because if Donald Trump
what the fuck is Area 21?
That was true, he'd tweet about it. Area 51?
Oh yeah, okay. I thought there was another area.
Area 51.
How many goddamn areas are there?
Place in New Mexico where like ET's hanging out.
Well, Area 51 is real. It's a real place, but the debate there is alien.
That's the question.
Yeah. It's probably military shit, but I don't know. Yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of weird alien stuff that I've seen. Do you remember? Fuck, I wish I had videos of it to show you right now, but you could YouTube it. I believe it was in Arizona a couple of years back, where there was like all kinds of UFOs in the sky, like people all over. I think it was Phoenix, taped it from different angles. Like it was just everyone could see it. It even went over, I think, an MLB game. There was a baseball game happening.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there was a whole thing. And then I think the governor kind of ridiculed people by coming out. He did a press conference and he came out with like an alien suit or something, like a mask. And people got mad at him. They're like, hey, asshole, we all saw it. Why are you calling us crazy? We sent you videos. And you never really hear anything from that again. And that was weird. Now, I would assume it was probably the military testing some shit out. We just don't know what kind of ships they're working with, what kind of technology. But still, I find it interesting that there's no official statement ever to be like the government's like, hey, that was military exercises, or those were, I don't know, you guys didn't get it right. There's no UFOs. But they just pretend like it never happened, even though there's video footage. That's what makes people suspicious.
I'm more annoyed because if I was ever staffing the governor or any politician and I wanted him to walk out in an alien mask, no one would listen to me.
Yeah.
I mean, like I got the fact that there's a chief executive in this country. Actually, no, backtrack. The fact that there is a consultant or a political operative in this country to get a chief executive to walk out in an alien mask, because I guarantee you that was that guy's idea. Game, respect, game.
Yeah, it is respectable, but that meeting must have been amazing. Like, dude,
Exactly.
they're all fucking freaking out about aliens. What do I do?
And they're probably stoned.
I got an idea. Now, look, it's unorthodox. But Shelly, I'm gonna need you to go down to the store. Gotta get me a goddamn alien mask. And then, because the governor's like, where are you going with this? Just trust me, governor. All right, you hired me for a fucking reason. I'm gonna fix this. You go out there and you ridicule your citizens. You tell them they're fucking idiots and they believe in this. Trust me, problem solved. Re-election in no time. Yeah.
Here.
But I've seen stuff like that, and it always makes me curious. It always, like, I love the movies that I like the kind of lore that I like. I really like time travel, and I like aliens. I like all that stuff, you know? I like extraterrestrial stuff. I like time travel. I like, did we come from aliens? Did they come here back in time? Because in my head, it has to do with time travel. So I enjoy it as entertainment.
The funny thing is, my favorite time travel movie isn't even a movie like that.
What is it?
There's this movie called About Time. It's more of a romantic comedy. I think it's the guy who did Love Actually. Bill Nye's in it, and what it is like the men in the family can travel back in time, but they can only travel back to a point in their own life to either change something or just to relive something.
Interesting concept.
So yeah, so like it's and like again, because you hear like the people who made Love Actually, you think it's gonna be like cheesy like a love story, but it's more just like
I was impressed that I was honored that you were coming out to me.
Well, wasn't that kind of a love story?
But is it good? What's it called again?
Oh, it's very good. It's a Bill Nye.
I don't like Bill Nye.
Redheaded British guy that you'll recognize his face. I don't know his name.
Did you know Bill Nye's not really a
Rachel
scientist?
McAdams.
Bill Nye, not a scientist. Did you know that? He just walks around with a fucking lab coat.
Oh no, not Bill Nye. Yeah, he's definitely not a scientist. Bill Nighy.
Oh, okay. Okay,
yes.
Is that a different person?
Who's more of a scientist than Bill Nye?
Okay, because I don't like Bill Nye.
No, not Bill Nye. No. Okay, if it was Bill Nye, that would be grounds for you to like to end this podcast right now.
Because if I walk around with overalls, I can't claim to be a mechanic. This guy goes on.
Actually, if you're American, you could say you can self-identify as a mechanic.
This guy goes on CNN talking about science. It always shocks me.
He's a marketing major.
Yeah,
I think it's a marketing major. That's like political. I had a friend share an article in Time that was supposed to be like a scientific research. It was the political scientist. Political scientists aren't actual scientists.
They're not actual scientists.
They're people who spent $20,000 just to get a piece of paper that said they're a doctor.
The only science in politics is this: lie. That's
the art of the lie.
Yeah, the art of the lie. That's the science.
There's actually science, like what lies work. The different kind of lies. If you're lying to people about aliens, you would apply a different lie than if you're lying to people about the coronavirus.
Exactly.
I mean that actually takes a skill. I mean, I can actually see going to school for that.
I don't want to forget now because I was curious. So what the fuck happens in this movie? You said they.
Oh no. So basically, what happens in the movie? What happens in the movie? It's like it's basically it's a love story just about learning how to like love life.
Okay, still gay.
They would go back
really
in time,
gay.
They would change mistakes. Yeah, they would learn to like the best part of the movie, and this is when like Bill Nighy, not Bill Nye because he's a douche. Bill Nighy tells his son like the true secret. Like say you have like a day, and it's a shitty day or something. Like you go back and you relive that day, but you look at some of the stuff you missed that you didn't appreciate at the time.
Why don't you just change it, make it a good day?
You could. That happened on a couple days too.
It should.
Yes.
What kind of an idiot will go back in time and relive shitty times and try to find? Just make it good. There is no shitty time.
Well, I mean, in the realm of this universe is that you can only once you start having kids.
Yeah.
You can't go past. You can't go before that kid was born because everything you did up until that life
led to that kid.
And that actually happened because he went back to fix a car accident, and then he came back, and his daughter was a Chinese boy.
His daughter was a Chinese boy. Hold on, a question. His daughter originally, was she a Chinese girl?
No.
Then that is ridiculous. How did that? His wife must have had a lot of explaining to do.
A lot of explaining.
Look, you were out of town. The delivery guy came over.
It could have just been a weird looking baby face that they hired. I'm not even sure. Again, come to think of it, I'm not even entirely sure the Chinese part, but the baby definitely looked a lot different.
This movie might have never happened. You might be making all this up.
And that's always possible too.
Yeah, so I've always been fascinated with time travel, aliens, and shit like that. But I can honestly say that I'm shocked that the news is passing up such a juicy story of UFOs sightings. These are real. It's such a juicy story, and I believe it's way better of a story than Trump told CNN anchor to go fuck himself for the 50th time. And I'm very, very shocked that
which really isn't news anymore.
That's why I'm surprised that they're just avoiding it. They're hiding it. They're hiding in plain sight. They announced it, and then no one's saying shit about it. So look, is it aliens? Is it another country? Another country that has some advanced fucking
another
Air
country
Force?
of aliens. Wow.
Another country of aliens, yeah.
If it was another country of aliens, we probably would have bombed them.
Is it Mexican F-16s? Like, what's happening?
Yes. It was illegal extraterrestrials.
Right, and then you have Elon Musk saying he's now fully convinced that this is a simulation. I don't know.
I think Elon Musk has to maybe dial back Joe Rogan's weed a little bit.
We say this, right? People talk shit about him, but he is way more successful than we are. He clearly knows what he's doing. So who are we to talk shit? Is how I see it.
That's valid, but also I didn't realize. I was watching Rogan's podcast yesterday because Musk was on.
Yeah.
If I ever have to fall asleep,
I said it.
I'm going to listen to an Elon Musk TED talk.
So here's
there was a 20-second pause before every sentence.
So So yesterday on my Patreon, I dropped a bonus podcast where those podcasts are just me, just talking to myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned that right before I was trying to watch that podcast. And the only thing I didn't like is I'm so interested in both these people, especially Elon Musk, because you don't get him in a lot of these interviews, right? Where it's just long form and he could riff. And I was shocked at how boring, and every time, like, Rogan was trying to build him up. Be like, all right, here, he's throwing him the ball. And then he would just stop and be like, well, the real thing to think about right now is why not use 3 letters instead of 2? I was like, oh, come on, man. He's not even talking in an adult voice, He's just
It's like, Elon Musk, it's great to have you. How was your day?
But it's not a bad thing. I mean, you contribute differently to society. He's given, exactly that delayed good. He's given back with his Tesla, science. I think he's the guy behind PayPal, all that shit. So he gave back in a different way. He's not giving back in entertainment and in public speaking. But it would have been amazing if you would have someone that has like the gift of gab of, let's say, a stand-up comic and the science mind of Elon Musk. That's the president. That would be a president right there. That's the guy you vote for.
I think you just stumbled on your first movie.
Yeah, just mix that up and have him be president?
Yes. President Pantelis.
Oh, God. I don't think I'd make a good president.
Yeah,
I'd argue more than Trump.
You could have like, you order like a thing of poutine that happened to be like too close to a toxic plant, and it made you really smart.
Yeah, it would be like the Toxic Avenger remade. I've been trying to get into recently. I don't know. I don't know where your passion lies in this, but I've been trying to get into horror series. I was unaware for the longest time that the horror genre translated to actual series, like shows that have seasons. I didn't know that was a real thing until I subscribed to Shudder, that channel on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
And I was pleasantly surprised. Right? There's just a community of horror movie fans. I didn't know about how much certain people get together and they talk about B horror movies, C horror movies, low budget ones, big budget ones, the franchises, and they have their own fan bases. And then there's these series that are made to be horror and scare you, but there's continuity to it. And it's been fucking exciting. I've been like, fuck, I didn't know there was so much horror, And some isn't really that scary. Like, I got into a show called Nosferatu.
Okay.
It's on Shudder, but it doesn't feel scary at all. It's not a horror. Like, it's classified as one, but I don't see it as horror. But it's a fun series. It's a fun series about people with, like, cool powers and shit. But yeah, it's I've been getting into that shit. I've been getting into a lot of this horror genre. Were you
Funny
aware
thing,
of the series, horror series?
it's funny thing is, I never got into horror movies because I was like, growing up, I was never allowed to see rated R movies.
Okay.
So when I got when get into high school and college, and I would so all like the classic movies, they all look so dated and stupid. So like if I watch Psycho, or like if I watch like the first Halloween,
Yeah.
I laugh at it because it just seems silly to me. But then then once like the horror movies are coming out that time, it was like the over the top gore where you're just watching it. It's just like,
They call
come
those, I
on,
think, so there's different genres within the horror genre.
slasher flicks.
Yeah, there's slasher flicks. I don't care so much for slasher flicks, but I really like Halloween but the original Halloweens, because then what happened is they kind of bastardized the whole franchise. They were just trying to milk it. But I love the concept behind Halloween. That figure that haunts you, right? And even though he never runs, he always manages to show up and surprise you. There's something creepy about that, So I love those little horror tropes, but I've never gotten into so there's huge fan clubs of like Friday the 13th and Jason movies, and they count the kills. Oh, in this movie he killed this many people by decapitation, by stabbing. I don't care for that. I care about the lore behind it.
Those are the types of people like they should consider going out and dating a girl.
Man, no, but there's you say that because that's what people would say about a lot of stuff, but I don't know, they seem well adjusted for the most part.
Well, and actually no, come to think of it, I mean, there were actually a lot more girls into these things, which drives me insane, because when I was into these things, the only girls into it were dragged there by their boyfriends. Like even going to see like a friend's band on the weekend in college, the only girls there were dragged in by their boyfriends. But now, girls go to concerts and these horror things by themselves. It's like, I wish you were around 20 years ago.
Okay, I wish I had a time machine.
Because now you're a felony.
Yeah, yeah. Now I would get in trouble. It's so
I would get in trouble back then too. It just wouldn't be illegal.
So what kind of genre? Because you're saying that you're not really big into the horror stuff, but I was bringing this up because I'm actually really excited about new horror movies coming out. I want to see that the second part of the remake of Halloween, which I don't know if you know, but what's his name? Danny McBride.
Okay.
Danny
McBride in a horror movie?
Danny McBride wrote this horror movie. Danny McBride has been up to all kinds of amazing shit. He's been writing comedy shows.
Let me make sure I'm thinking of the same person.
The guy from Eastbound and Down?
Yes, Danny McBride's in a horror.
Yeah, no, he's not even in it. He made it basically. He's been making a lot of good shit. Like if you look at I don't know if you've seen The Righteous Gemstones, and him and his writing partner, these guys are fucking hilarious. I feel like they're underappreciated.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they do a lot of stuff.
I'm actually blown away by this. I'm actually gonna have to check it out now, because I'm curious what Danny McBride, because I think the first movie I saw him in, it was like an indie film with Zooey Deschanel and some other people called All the Real Girls. And ever since that movie, everything I've ever seen him in, he looked like he's played the exact same character.
Yeah, he's always Danny McBride.
Yeah,
but it's just different.
I'm curious what a horror movie from him would look like.
It's great. He actually he clearly loves the source material. He loves Halloween, and it's not like just an over the top. All right, let's just show a lot of blood, right? He doesn't do that, which made it a lot of fun for me. It's fun to watch, but it's just everything he touches recently that I've been watching, like a lot of his comedy shows. There's one, I think it's called Vice Principals, where he's a vice principal with another. It's just he's such a funny, good writer. And he's doing so much.
I'll have to check it out, because you know what happened? Because I used to love all of those Judd Apatow things, like starting with like Freaks and Geeks and like that entire, like, we'll call them a troupe, until Twitter, and I got to find out what like douchebags some of them are, and like real life. I kind of wrote it, but one of my favorite dumb comedies, which is funny because I hate everyone in this movie, Get Him to the Greek. Okay. Like I like dumb comedies like that, but it's got Russell Brand and like Jonah Hill, or two of my least favorite people on the planet. I watched it, yeah. But yeah, like I always associated Danny McBride with like that gang. Like I'd be surprised to see him in a horror movie and him not be stoned.
Yeah, well, he's not. Like I said, he's not in it. You're not going to see him in it. He made it. He's not in it, so he doesn't do like a random cameo. So
so he's just producing.
Yeah, wow. So and writing. which is interesting. But The Righteous Gemstones and Vice Principals, these are shows. They're one season each so far. Oh no, 2 seasons actually.
I'll
I think the Vice
have to
Principal.
check it out.
You have to check them, dude. It's fucking hilarious, and he's one of those guys that I appreciate again because he's doing his own thing. I think he lives in Carolina, where he wants to live. He fucking writes. He films his shit.
Okay, I actually appreciate. I appreciate that too. I appreciate the people who are able to.
I like people doing their own thing. They're building their own thing. They're
content doing their own thing and just making enough money to where they don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah, they don't have to suck the cock of the Hollywood elites, if you will.
Yes. The best piece of advice I ever heard, Chappelle, when he was on Inside the Actor Studio, he was telling a story about how his he was the first person in his family to not graduate college. So his dad pulled him aside one time when he said he was going to, instead of going to college, he's going to have a career as a comedian. And his father had to sat down and have a warning with him, everyone tries to make it, but not everyone makes it. Make sure you have a plan. And Chappelle's answer was, it depends what making it is, because his dad was a teacher. And Chappelle feels like if he can make him just enough money to match a teacher's salary, would be making it to him.
Yeah, I've seen that interview.
Yeah, ever since I saw that, everything, I view everything in that lens. So like Danny McBride, it's you probably just, hey, I'll write this, and I'll make he's comfortable and content just being comfortable and doing the stuff he actually wants to do, as opposed to having to choose stuff just to get the big payday, because that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, you're telling me I could live and do all the shit I like? Why the fuck would I live and do all the shit you like instead? That's crazy. No, I'm gonna do all this.
That's one of the things I like. I also like about Chris Pratt, because he still lives on a farm in Seattle or in Washington State.
Oh, I don't know much about Chris Pratt.
Yeah, I mean, last I heard, I don't think he's gonna. I think one of the reasons for his divorce was that because his Anna Faris wanted to get more into TV, so she wanted to move to Hollywood, and he doesn't want to live in California. He enjoys living on a farm and just traveling when he has to do actor shit. But I enjoy stuff like that, where it's I'm going to live my own thing. I'll just, I'll do stuff when I feel like doing it. I can appreciate that.
I'm a fan of the builders. Anyways, all right. Well, Brodigan, I know you have shit to do. I know that you did this as a last minute favor, and I caught you at the perfect time because you didn't get interrupted for an hour, which is fucking amazing.
which I was expecting.
So I thought you were gonna get interrupted for sure, but we got lucky.
Yes.
So they're gonna find you on Twitter, and it's easy because it's @Brodigan.
I got in early.
Yeah, you got in early. I tried to get @Pantelis, and an account that doesn't even use it has it, and they won't give it to me.
How is there someone else with the name Pantelis?
Yeah, and whoever the fuck it is doesn't even use it. They've never used that goddamn account.
It's like that on Instagram. There's an @Brodigan on Instagram. I think Linda Brodigan. She has no followers, no friends. She's posted 3 photos, and she hasn't updated her account in say 8 years. Give me my name.
Yeah, listen, Linda, you stupid whore.
I don't know who you are. I don't even know if you're related. Give me my damn name.
It would be funny if you are related, and she's like, "What are you doing? You're the worst nephew ever."
One day there's gonna be a funeral or something. It's like, wait, did you say Linda Brodigan? As in @Brodigan on Instagram?
And a fight breaks out.
Come here, we need to talk.
Listen, whore. So they're gonna find you on Twitter. They're gonna find you. You're the Brodigan on Instagram, correct?
#Brodigan.
On Instagram. Is that your
yes.
At #Brodigan. That makes it funnier. So they're gonna find you there. They're also gonna see you on Louder with Crowder. And a lot of the sketches.
Where they'll also see you.
Yeah, they'll see me. I'll fly back down there as soon as the ban has been lifted. Yeah, as soon as they let me. And they're gonna catch a lot of your sketches. And as for you, I try to motivate you to do your own fucking wrestling thing because I know you love wrestling, but you seem to tell me to go fuck myself. So that's not gonna happen. But you will be tweeting all kinds of nonsense, and that's where everyone could see what you're up to. So fuck.
I'm content doing that.
Thank you all for listening. Check out Brodigan.